What's up, everybody? My name is Del. Welcome to Del on Movies. And today we are continuing the series where I rank movies year by year, starting from 2000 to 2025. At the end, put them all in a pot, and I'm going to come up with my top 25 movies of that time period. And today we are up to 2007. And we're going to start off with my number 10. We're going to jump right in. My number 10 for 2007 is a movie that I do not have. It is in the Criterion collection, I believe, and I do want to get my hands on it. I just haven't done it yet. And that movie is 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. And despite the title of the movie, it actually takes place in a 24-hour period. And this is a foreign film, um, where our two main characters are basically on a quest, and their quest is to they're traveling basically to get a black market abortion. And unfortunately, this is a movie that has now become even more relevant instead of less relevant, like we would think, right? Because of certain things that are happening here in America, it's becoming more and more important for us, more and more relevant for us. Uh, and this movie is excellent at doing it. I thought it was great the first time I saw it, and it is a very, very hard to watch movie. I will warn you right up front for anyone who has not seen that movie. Let's move on to my number nine. Number nine is not tough to watch unless you're a fan of the star and miss him, because the stars one Philip Seymour Hoffman, and that movie is Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. And in this film, he plays a guy who's pretty hard up for money, uh, largely thanks to his drug habit. And his brother, played by Ethan Hawke, uh, he's kind of an unassuming guy for the most part. Married to excuse me, Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is married to Marissa Tomei. However, we find out rather quickly and in short order that she's also sleeping with Ethan Hawke's character, and that's not what the movie's about. The movie that is an aspect of it, and it does come up. But what that movie is really about is that Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is, decides the way to get money. Since he needs money, his brother also needs money. The way to get it is we're going to rob a jewelry store. The twist here, not really a twist, but the catch is that the jewelry store is owned by their parents. So Philip Seymour Hoffman is not going to be there. He's kind of the mastermind here, and Ethan Hawke is supposed to somehow carry this out. And things don't go the way they're supposed to, as you might imagine. And that we deal with the aftermath of that, and we kind of go back and forth to what happened that day. And it is, I think it's just a magnificent film. So that will get my number nine spot. Number eight is a movie that is a polarizing one because a lot of people love the movie and they got sequels year after year after year after year. But then again, people who don't like the movie like really hate the movie. And that movie is Paranormal Activity. This is the first three movies. Yeah, this is the first three movies, but I'm only talking about the first one right up here at the top. And it's a found footage movie where this couple think they live in a haunted house, so they're videotaping everything to try to get some evidence. And either you know the rest or you don't. Go watch it if you haven't. But Paranormal Activity gets my number eight. I just thought it handled the found footage thing very, very well. And I'm not a fan of found footage movies. I hate, for instance, the Blair Witch Project, right? I cannot stand the movie. But I really did like the first Paranormal Activity. In fact, I did like all of those first three. Um, so that's my number eight. Number seven is I just happened to pick up the back of the Blu-ray here and it says a mind-blowing excitement. In some ways it is. This is a movie where I think it could have been even higher if if they stuck with the ending of the source material. And the movie is I Am Legend. One Will Smith is the lead character here. A virus has wiped out the world, thanks largely to him. And now he's trying to survive. the remaining other anybody else alive in this world, as far as he is aware, is has been transformed into a vampire, though they present as zombies pretty much here in the movie. They only come out at night and they're rage filled. They're not ones that communicate and talk like, this isn't Bela Lugosi vampires, okay? They're very much like zombies. And yeah, we follow Will Smith. So he has to carry this movie mostly by himself for most of the time, him and the dogs. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, excellent, excellent time. I will say for people going back who've not seen this movie, you might look at it, oh, geez, the CGI is bad. I'm gonna be honest, CGI was bad in 2006 when I went to the theater and saw it. It was like that doesn't work, but the rest of the movie does work really, really well. So I give it a pass on that one. Brings me to my number seven movie. No, I had it right. Number six. Uh, that one is Hairspray, and Hairspray is a remake of a John Waters movie, also called Hairspray, but this one is a straight up musical where that one is not. And every once in a while, I got to show off what I have here on these videos, and in this case, it's the slipcover that goes like that. Pretty plain underneath, but we do have the silhouettes. But once you put it on, it works really, really well for that. It's very cool. And we get the same thing on the back. Okay. Enough showing off. The movie set in the late 60s. And where we get an American Bandstand kind of show in the local Baltimore area, and our main character, not John Travolta, Nikki Blanc. Why her on the back? I just thought about that. Here she is. But anyway, she really wants to be on the show, but she finds out and realizes that it's a very segregated show. They, matter of fact, only have one day a week, that they call Negro Day, where they have black kids on the show. Also, she's pushing back against that, and that's what this is all about. Really, really, really fun movie, really good. That is my number six. My number five is a movie on the complete opposite of the spectrum, and that is American Gangster. And here, this is based on a true story. So Washington plays Frank Harlem Gangster back in the day, and Russell Crowe plays the cop that is out to get him. All right, and we get basically almost two separate movies for a long time. We get the Frank Lucas story, and we get the story of the officer, and then they collide towards the end, and it really works. It sizzles. I love this movie. Excellent, excellent job. And I gotta watch it in 4K. I've never watched it in 4K. I don't know if you can tell, but it is still wrapped in plastic here. I've seen the movie two or three times, but never in 4K. So I changed that, and I bought this like 2 years ago. So kind of changed that. That brings me to my number four movie. And one thing about doing these videos, guys, is that I try to dig these movies out, and show them to you as I have them. Some movies I just, they're buried too deep in a box, and I don't want to do that. This movie I thought I had. This is enlightened me. So one thing about this is I get to learn something about my collection that I didn't, and that is that I don't have There Will Be Blood. But that is my number four. There Will Be Blood, and this is Daniel Day Lewis, Paul Dano squaring off. Lewis, he's basically an oil man. He goes from town to town. He exploits it, gets all of his resources, and leaves and moves on to the next town. And the people in this particular town, especially Paul Dano's character, is pushing back on it. And Dano does dual work here. He's playing one character who is in the clergy, and he's playing another character, and it's confusing the first time you see it. So that's why I'm kind of bringing that up, but it does play an important part in the film. And I really do enjoy this film. I watch it more as a metaphor for America's exploits overseas in countries that have oil. That's the way I watch it. It does work as a surface level film, but not as much in my opinion. You go that, and it really works as a stand-in for our involvement in the Middle East. So next time you watch it, or just think about it, have that in mind, because I think it works really well for that. Moving on to my number three. Number three is Gone Baby Gone, and this is Ben Affleck directs his brother Casey Affleck this time around. And um, we got a missing baby. Casey Affleck is kind of a private eye who's been hired to find the baby, and he's going all over Boston. And just some outrageous things are happening in this movie. And the way Affleck directs this film, it is so tight. And then at the end, Morgan Freeman, as you can see, Ed Harris is also here on the cover, and Michelle Monaghan. They're all great in this movie. And at the end of the movie, it poses the question of what would you do? And oh man, it's one of those movies you got to see, and then after the movie, have a conversation with someone who watched it with you. And so I would say don't watch it alone. I remember watching this movie back in the day, and yeah, we had that conversation in my house with my wife, and I had that. I don't know if she remembers it, but I remember us, having this conversation, and then doing the same, not necessarily watching it again, but having it with other people who saw the movie. So I highly recommend not just watching it, because I highly recommend all of these, but in this case, watching it with someone and then talking about it. So that's my number three. Number two is Persepolis, the only animated movie on the list this year. And this is not a kids movie. This is kind of sort of a biopic based on a comic. Not I don't know if it's comic book or it's not a manga. I forgot what they call it, but it's generally a comic book. And we get a young lady who, speaking of the Middle East, she grew up in Iraq, if I remember correctly, because it's been a few years since I've watched this. And this is just about her growing up, her experience there, and it is very well handled. Uh, if you can see here on the cover, there's very rudimentary animation happening, and it works. It really works for the movie, and so this is not like a technical marvel, right? This is not a Pixar movie or anything like that. This is not a Spider Verse movie where it's pushing the envelope for animation, but storytelling is amazing in that film, so definitely check out Persepolis. And that brings me to my number one movie of 2007, and that is No Country for Old Men. And the man right there in the middle is the villain, Anton Chigurh, played, of course, by Javier Bardem, and he deserves that. He deserves that center spot because he makes this movie more than anything. The Coens directing, right, and all that stuff, and they came up with a great, great, great movie. And they surrounded not all well, Bardem. They surrounded him with a great cast, right? We got Tommy Lee Jones, the older officer, who's chasing after actually Josh Brolin's character, who's not an officer, right? Tommy Lee Jones' character is the sheriff. Um, Josh Brolin is a guy who just happens upon a scene with a bunch of dead bodies and a bag of money, and he takes the money. And that's where Anton Chigurh comes in, because he comes looking for the money a little bit later, and it's not there, and he gets wind of who has the money, and he's not shy about killing them. So Tommy Lee Jones is the sheriff, like I said, and he's kind of involved in this whole thing, and he's always a step behind, it seems. And that kind of is what the title's about. No Country for Old Men. There's more to it than that. And I would say watch this movie and just enjoy it. At the time that I first saw it, that and There Will Be Blood, those movies were neck and neck for me. There Will Be Blood has gone down a bit in my estimation, but No Country remains at the top. My number one movie of 2007. Stay tuned for the honorable mentions that follow my next thing, which is thank you for hanging out with me. And if you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. Do the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. I will catch you on the next one, guys.